The story of iron has always been the story of energy, the metal that carries oxygen in our blood and allows every cell to breathe. Yet there is a quiet paradox. Some of the richest sources of iron hide in plants we call weeds. Imagine looking out at a patch of dandelions and not realizing there is more iron in those tender leaves than in spinach. Or consider the nettle, a plant most gardeners dread that, when dried, holds nearly 228 milligrams of iron per 100 grams. What if the remedies of rural herbalists and traditional healers could help solve a modern problem? And what if the very pills designed to correct iron deficiency sometimes make people feel worse? Gastrointestinal complaints like constipation, abdominal pain, and nausea are common with synthetic iron tablets. As we begin this journey, keep one question in mind: could nature's own iron tonics offer a gentler path? To answer that question, we first need to understand the problem. Iron deficiency anemia affects roughly a quarter of the global population. Hemoglobin, the iron-containing protein that transports oxygen, drops below healthy levels, leaving people fatigued, breathless, and pale. The standard treatment is simple. Doctors prescribe ferrous sulfate or similar supplements. These pills are inexpensive and effective, but up to 60% of patients report gastrointestinal side effects such as constipation and bloating, leading many to abandon treatment. The roots of our story go further back than the pharmaceutical revolution. For centuries, indigenous cultures across continents turned to wild plants to restore iron. The field of ethnobotany preserves accounts of midwives using nettle infusions to build a mother's blood, and of healers in China brewing dandelion teas to treat fatigue. These practices were not based on abstract nutrient tables, but on observation plants that strengthened livestock, seemed to strengthen people too. Science would later reveal that some of these herbs do indeed contain meaningful amounts of iron and vitamin C, a synergy that enhances absorption. But do these herbal tonics truly surpass modern iron pills? We'll trace 5 plants and see what they reveal. Let us begin with the humble dandelion, Taraxacum officinale, a plant many consider a lawn nuisance. Picture an apothecary's shop in 18th century Europe, glass jars of dried roots and leaves, and a battered mortar where roasted dandelion root is being ground into tea. Dandelion has long been a staple in traditional Chinese and European medicine. Modern analysis shows that its leaves are a rich source of iron, about 3.1 milligrams per 3.5 ounce, 100 grams, serving, surpassing the same portion of spinach. A small animal study found that mice given dandelion extract for 20 days had higher hemoglobin and red blood cell counts. The plant also contains vitamin C, which converts ferric iron to the more absorbable ferrous form and helps the body utilize non-heme iron. Dandelion's story also contains a warning. Despite centuries of use, there are few quality human trials, and people with ragweed allergies may react to it. Yet the image of a bright yellow flower turning into a blood-building tonic captures our imagination. How did a weed become medicine? More importantly, if this weed holds more iron than spinach, what else have we overlooked? But there's another plant on the horizon that hides its virtues beneath the soil. That plant is yellow dock, Rumex crispus, a plant with bitter roots that curl like twisted corkscrews. Enslaved herbalists in the American South made tonics from yellow dock and molasses to combat the fatigue of hard labor. Yellow dock's iron content is modest. Leaf and root contain roughly 30 milligrams of iron per 100 grams. Yet the plant is rich in vitamin C and other compounds that boost the absorption of non-heme iron. Herbalists believe that yellow dock helps the liver and spleen recycle iron more efficiently and may gently stimulate bowel movements, an important counterpoint to constipation caused by many iron pills. Modern science offers little definitive evidence. Most studies are animal or laboratory-based. The American Botanical Council cautions that individuals with kidney stones or on medications such as digoxin or warfarin should consult a healthcare provider before taking yellow dock. Still, the plant's enduring use raises fascinating questions about synergy. Could a tonic that is not especially iron-dense still improve iron status by aiding absorption? The answer becomes clearer when we encounter a plant that defends itself with stings. Stinging nettle, Urtica dioica, has armed leaves covered in tiny hairs that inject histamine and formic acid when touched. Children learn to avoid them, yet herbalists see food and medicine. In Nepal, stinging nettle leaves are dried and ground into flour. Chemical analysis reveals that nettle powder contains extraordinary amounts of iron, over 227 milligrams per 100 grams on a dry weight basis. And that's roughly 60 times more than wheat flour. The same study found nettle rich in protein, calcium, and antioxidants. Such density doesn't mean we should eat nettle by the spoonful. A teaspoon of powder is plenty, and the plant's high mineral content allows even small quantities to contribute meaningfully. Nettle also contains vitamins A and C, which support iron absorption. Midwives have used nettle infusions to support pregnant women, although experts warn that nettle can increase bleeding and interact with medications. Preparing nettle safely requires gloves to harvest and boiling to neutralize the stinging hairs. But of all the iron-rich herbs, none straddles the line between food and medicine like the drumstick tree. If you travel to a village in South Asia or East Africa, you might see a slender tree with feathery leaves and long pods hanging like drumsticks. This is Moringa, Moringa oleifera, celebrated as a miracle tree. Its leaves are not only high in protein and essential amino acids, but also an excellent source of iron and vitamin C. A recent review notes that dried moringa leaves contain around 97.9 micrograms of iron per gram and significant levels of carotenoids and other micronutrients. Another systematic review notes that moringa leaves may contain up to 7 milligrams of iron per 100 grams fresh weight and vitamin C concentrations of about 1.89 milligrams per gram. In Indonesia, researchers baked moringa leaf flour into biscuits and found that adolescent girls eating 2 biscuits per day experienced significant increases in hemoglobin. Moringa's vitamin C content enhances iron absorption. Our vitamin C can increase non-Hem iron uptake by up to 4-fold. The leaves are bitter when raw, but become palatable when added to soups, stews, or powdered into smoothies. In many African and Asian communities, moringa is not a supplement, but a daily food. Pregnant women taking moringa leaf powder capsules have shown improved hemoglobin levels compared with those taking standard iron folate tablets. Despite its promise, moringa interacts with certain medications and may affect blood sugar. Healthcare providers recommend moderation and consultation. Still, the miracle tree is not the only kitchen staple hiding in plain sight. Sometimes the answer sits in the curry leaves flavoring a family meal. In many Indian households, the sizzling of mustard seeds and the aroma of curry leaves signal that dinner is being prepared. Curry leaves, Muria kanigi, are not just seasoning, they are a potent source of iron. Dehydrated curry leaves can contain roughly 12 milligrams of elemental iron per 100 grams. Researchers have discovered that when curry leaf extract is standardized and concentrated, it can provide 18 milligrams of plant-based iron in a single capsule. A double-blind clinical trial conducted in 2023 to 2024 compared 3 groups. One received plant-based iron from curry leaves combined with vitamin C from amla, Indian gooseberry. Another received plant-based iron alone, and the third received placebo. After 60 days, both treatment groups showed significant improvements in hemoglobin compared with placebo, with the combination group performing best. The study notes that vitamin C reduces ferric iron to ferrous iron, improving solubility and uptake. By pairing curry leaf extract with amla, the researchers recreated the natural synergy found in a traditional curry meal. The standardization also removed insoluble fibers, making the extract easier to digest. Such research hints at a future where plant-based supplements are not just natural, but carefully formulated for safety and efficacy. Having met our 5 plants, we now stand at a crossroads. How do they compare to synthetic iron pills? To understand why these herbs might surpass or complement modern iron supplements, we need to examine both sides. Synthetic iron tablets deliver large doses of elemental iron quickly. This can overwhelm the gut, alter the microbiota, and promote the growth of methane-producing bacteria, leading to constipation and bloating. Up to 60% of patients taking oral iron report gastrointestinal complaints. In some cases, the combination of ferrous iron and ascorbic acid may exacerbate oxidative stress, causing mucosal damage and ulcers. The side effects are a major cause of non-adherence. Patients simply stop taking their pills and remain anemic. Plant-based iron comes with built-in advantages. The iron content is lower per serving, but it is delivered alongside vitamin C, flavonoids, and other cofactors that improve absorption. For example, Nettle contains both high iron and vitamin C. Moringa combines iron with high levels of vitamin C and carotenoids. Curry leaf extract paired with amla significantly improves hemoglobin. These herbs often cause gentle stimulation of the digestive system rather than irritation. Yellow dock's vitamin C content and mild laxative effect may counteract constipation. Moreover, plant-based iron is usually consumed in foods or teas, spreading intake over the day and avoiding large bolus doses that saturate iron transporters. Yet natural does not mean benign. Allergies to dandelion and nettle are real. Yellow dock may interact with medications. Pregnant women should not take nettle or concentrated curry leaf extracts without supervision. And while early trials show promise, there are few long-term studies comparing plant-based iron with standard care. The lesson is not to reject modern medicine, but to enrich our understanding of how plants and pills can work together. These insights have practical implications. Rather than reaching first for high-dose tablets, some clinicians now recommend adjusting diets to include iron-rich foods and herbs, especially when intolerance to supplements is high. A handful of nettle powder stirred into soup, a salad of dandelion greens, or moringa leaves added to stew can contribute iron along with other nutrients. Curry leaves and amla in a curry provide not just flavor, but a microdose of iron and vitamin C. In communities with limited access to supplements, these plants are sustainable and locally available. Moringa thrives in arid soils. Nettle and dandelion grow in temperate climates. Yellow dock appears in disturbed soils worldwide. Such diversity allows populations to tailor their approach. We must also consider our gut ecosystems. Emerging research suggests that the microbiome thrives on polyphenols and fibers present in herbs and suffers when exposed to unabsorbed iron. By choosing gentler sources, we may support both iron status and digestive health. The synergy extends beyond biology into culture. Preparing nettle soup or moringa biscuits revives culinary traditions and connects generations. But does this mean we should all abandon our iron pills? The answer is nuanced. Severe anemia requires prompt, effective treatment, and synthetic iron supplements or intravenous iron can save lives. Plant-based options may not deliver enough iron quickly enough to correct dangerous deficiencies. However, for mild deficiency or prevention, incorporating these herbs can be a valuable strategy, especially when pills cause distress. The healthcare professionals can help patients balance dietary sources with supplementation, monitoring hemoglobin levels, and tailoring interventions. It is also important to note that herbs vary in potency. A cup of dandelion tea will not provide the same iron as a standardized curry leaf capsule. The clinical trial on curry leaf extract with amla showed that careful formulation matters. companies developing plant-based supplements must prioritize quality control and transparency so that consumers know what they are ingesting. Finally, we must respect the environments where these plants grow. Overharvesting nettle or dandelion can disrupt ecosystems. Ethical sourcing and cultivation ensure that the plants remain available for the communities that rely on them. Beyond the 5 herbs, iron in context. The global scale of anemia casts a long shadow over these herbal stories. The World Health Organization notes that anemia is a major public health concern, particularly affecting young children, pregnant and postpartum women, and menstruating adolescent girls. Globally, 40% of children aged 6 to 59 months, 37% of pregnant women, and 30% of women aged 15 to 49 years are anemic. This translates to about 500 million women of reproductive age and 269 million children worldwide. A 2023 news release summarizing the global burden of disease. 2021 analysis reports that 1/4 of the global population is anemic. In 2021, there were 1.92 billion people with anemia, with 31.2% of women affected compared with 17.5% of men. These figures reveal that iron deficiency is not a niche problem, but a planetary one. Meeting daily iron needs requires understanding the body's requirements. The National Institutes of Health recommends about 8 milligrams of iron per day for adult men, 18 milligrams for adult women, 27 milligrams during pregnancy, and 9 milligrams during lactation. Adolescents and children need proportionally less, but girls' requirements rise during the teenage years, underscoring why young women and expectant mothers are particularly vulnerable to deficiency. But not all iron is created equal. Dietary iron comes in 2 forms: heme iron, present in meat and seafood, and non-heme iron, found in plants and fortified foods. Heme iron has higher bioavailability and is less affected by other dietary components. Non-heme iron's absorption is more variable. Consuming vitamin C or meat alongside non-heme iron significantly increases its absorption, whereas phytates in grains and polyphenols in legumes can inhibit it. Mixed diets that include meat and vitamin C result in an iron bioavailability of about 14 to 18%, but vegetarian diets without these enhancers absorb only 5 to 12%. This explains why combining plant-based iron with vitamin C-rich foods is a time-honored practice. Citrus squeezed over cooked greens, tomatoes in lentil soup, or amla paired with curry leaves all exemplify this synergy. Looking beyond the 5 herbs in our story, many everyday foods offer meaningful iron. Parsley contains about 3.72 milligrams of iron per cup of chopped leaves. Dried spirulina provides 31.92 milligrams per cup, and sesame seeds deliver 20.95 milligrams. These everyday foods illustrate that iron is woven throughout our diets, not just in obvious leafy greens. Although iron absorption depends on enhancers like vitamin C and inhibitors such as phytates and polyphenols, traditional methods, soaking or fermenting grains, and adding citrus or tomatoes to meals improve bioavailability. Excess iron can be harmful, so health professionals advise spacing iron and calcium supplements and consulting a doctor before taking high doses. Weaving tradition, science, and stewardship. As we approach the end of our journey, the bigger picture emerges. Iron is more than a nutrient. It is a story about how we relate to our bodies and to the natural world. Synthetic supplements arose from a desire to solve deficiency quickly and cheaply, yet they come with costs. Traditional herbal practices evolved slowly, guided by observation and passed down through generations. Today, science is beginning to validate some of that wisdom. We have learned that dandelion greens contain more iron than spinach, that yellow dock's vitamin C aids absorption, that nettle powder is astonishingly rich in iron, that moringa pairs iron with vitamin C and carotenoids, and that curry leaves combined with amla can raise hemoglobin in a clinical trial. At the same time, we've confronted the limitations possible allergies, interactions, and the need for more research. We have also stepped back to examine the global burden of anemia and the physiological subtleties of iron metabolism. Why do these 5 iron-dense herbs seem to surpass modern synthetic supplements? Because they embody a principle modern nutrition often overlooks. Nutrients are more effective when delivered within the matrix of whole foods and plants. Natural compounds work in concert to support absorption and reduce side effects. They offer gentler, sustained nourishment and invite us to engage with our food as medicine. The final takeaway is not that pills are bad and plants are good, but that we have options. By weaving traditional herbs into our diets, by embracing diversity in everyday foods, by respecting the environments where these plants grow, and by supporting research into standardized plant-based supplements, we can create a more nuanced, holistic approach to iron deficiency. Emerging microbiome research may reshape our view of herbal tonics. Studies should examine not just hemoglobin, but also the gut flora they influence. Such work, bridging tradition and science, will guide holistic solutions. As you look out at a patch of wild greens or sprinkle curry leaves into your cooking, remember, sometimes the most powerful medicine is growing quietly at our feet, reminding us of nature's generosity.